Welcome to Small Talk with Jill, exploring businesses one virtual interview at a time. Today I'll be speaking with Stacy Eldridge, the owner of Silicon Prairie Cyber. Stacy is dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and small businesses break the code on data protection. Her security career began nearly 20 years ago in the FBI as a digital investigator and has also worked in data loss prevention and cybersecurity fields. Stacy leverages her past experiences to create custom solutions for businesses that don't break the bank so owners can focus on their goals.
Hi, this is Jill with Small Talk with Jill, and I am excited to have Stacy Eldridge with us today. Stacy is an expert, as you heard, in security. Her background will show us why. Stacy, tell a little bit about how you got to helping small businesses find their way to secure what they have put their sweat and tears into.
Sure, Jill, I'd be happy to. Let's jump in the Wayback Machine and I'll tell you how I got my start. So I initially started off here in Nebraska as what is now TD Ameritrade as a software developer. But then I really began my security career when I got the opportunity to join the FBI. And when I joined the FBI, I was digital forensic investigator. So that means I did a lot of examinations of computers, laptops, cell phones, tablets, all that digital media stuff. And I actually worked on some pretty big cases. I testified in federal court several times as an expert witness. Some of the cases I worked on, there's a group called Anonymous, and they do a lot of hacking. I worked on a big case with that in conjunction with the London Metropolitan Police Department. And I actually testified in the first case that got the first conviction for material support of terrorism. So just did a lot of different stuff in the FBI, moved around the country with that, worked a lot of big cases in a lot of big offices. Then I wanted to get out and get some leadership opportunities. So that's when I moved into GE Digital and managed the data loss prevention program for about 90,000 people across the globe. And I was in charge specifically of the investigation process and data remediation process. And then most recently, before I started my business, I moved into cybersecurity, managing a program for public power and protecting that critical infrastructure here in the United States. After I did all this kind of different stuff in security, I really saw a lot of different things, and that led me to my why about why I needed to start my own business and focus specifically on small businesses. When I was working a lot of cases in the FBI, I saw like many small businesses ruined because of a hack or a breach. Either their data was just simply gone and they couldn't recover, or their reputation was destroyed, and then therefore they had the inability to conduct business moving forward. And even on the personal side, like I saw people blackmailed and swindled just because they clicked on a link in an email. And then as I got into cybersecurity, I heard many businesses complain about how complex it was to implement security programs or how expensive it was to implement security. And they thought it was just for large corporate entities with really deep pockets. And I thought to myself, I'm like, it's not right. Cybersecurity isn't just for the big companies with lots of money to spend, because everybody needs it and everybody can have it. You know, my message to small businesses is that it doesn't have to be super complicated, and you don't have to spend tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you don't have to buy a bunch of stuff. We can customize a plan just for you, and we can grow that plan and mature it and do something to help you where you're at right now, at your price point right now, that will help you protect your business and your customer today, right now. And then we can look to the future, do things better and better over time.
Sad that it comes down to cost when it's a small business owner. As a small business owner myself, we're passionate about everything that we do, but every penny we're so mindful of and how to spend. And what I would love to see, and I don't see this, is when somebody goes to open a business that it's on that checklist.
Right.
Maybe that's something that you're on the cutting edge of. Put this into a checklist. Yes, you need your DBA, you need a bank, you need a name, all those little things. But before you open the door, find out what you need to protect your business.
Exactly, because you're so right. We're also concerned about, okay, what is this legal entity we have to have? How can we protect ourselves legally so we can't get sued? But then we don't think about, well, how can I protect my business data? What if I get hit with a ransomware attack? What if I lose all my data on my computer? I mean, these just aren't things that we think about. And I think if we started it sooner rather than later in our business, it just becomes one of those things that's so natural and it becomes the day to day, and you're just used to it from the beginning. Where if you're already, probably going like Mach 12 as you do in small businesses, and you're putting out fires left and right, and you got all these cool ideas, and you're just so focused on putting out and servicing your customers, then you kind of forget about the security until something bad happens. And I don't want that to happen to small businesses. I don't want that to happen to anybody, because, entrepreneurs, small businesses, you have this special drive and fire inside you to do, and it's your passion. And I just really hate to see you have to stop doing that, even for a short time, or God forbid, not even get to do it again because, you clicked on a link and you got ransomware, and now you have nothing. Or, something even worse where, maybe you're a business that deals with more sensitive information, and then all of your customer information got released, and now your reputation is ruined. Nobody wants that to happen.
So be proactive rather than reactive. Years ago, I was working my job that I had, and I think it was actually during the Christmas holidays though, and my email got hacked, and
Oh no.
it sent out a message to everybody in my database that I had been in an accident, whatever. I was overseas, I needed help and all this. I will say, and I had some high profile names in there that I'd communicated because of the business that I was
Sure.
in. And some of them knew, they had seen me, so they knew I wasn't out of the country. But then some of them that didn't, were calling friends of friends to find out if I was okay, because it was, like, well, if she's not, then I want to send money, because people wanna
People want to help. That's what the bad guys are really good at, is like tugging at your heartstrings. And they're very timely too. So if we think about like COVID-19 and what's going on right now, they're sending out lots of phishing emails. So these are these emails where they're trying to lure you in and click and do something that you wouldn't do voluntarily. And so they're saying stuff like, here's a list of people in your community that has COVID-19. Open this file and see if you've been in contact with any of these people. And people want to see who has it. And like a lot of places, to get tested, you have to have a name of someone you've been in contact with. So they want that name off of that list. Sometimes they're just offering, files, whatever, like here's good policy for COVID-19, just all sorts of stuff. And it kind of depends how they're angling at you, but they're trying to get you to open and click on that link. And they're either trying to get your username and password because you're going to log into a site that you think is legitimate, but it's not, or you click and download that attachment and then you're putting something bad on your computer, and then they can get into your computer and get access to all your files or take over your email. There's all sorts of things they can do. And there's certainly, we're working 40 plus hours a week at our jobs. Well, they're working 40 plus hours a week at hacking. So they kind of have all the time in the world to think of bad things to do, where you have a very finite amount of time in your day to fight them off.
So as far as businesses, for your business, can you work with any business, any state, anywhere in the United States? So, because obviously this is being driven through YouTube,
Yep.
which is a social media, which is that double-edged sword here.
Yep.
We're using the social media outlet to get the word out. So can you work with clients from any state?
Yes, I can. I have services available virtually. And then if you do happen to be in Nebraska, we, once COVID-19 lets up, we can work in person. But anywhere across the country, happy to connect with you virtually.
I've been following you on Instagram, and she has just tips. Let's just say tips for the average person. We're not even talking business. So this piece is not solely to the small business owner. This is to the world. I caught that live tip you were doing about seasonal passwords.
Oh, yep.
There's a lot, and I didn't even know that term. Do you want to talk a little about
Sure.
these other pieces that you can filter in?
Yeah. So what I try to do is just provide a lot of tips and facts for small businesses, but really, as you said, they're applicable to anybody out there. And so one of the tips I recently talked about in a quick 2-minute tip that I do was seasonal passwords, and just to fill the audience in. So a seasonal password is where you have a password that's based on the seasons of the year, and that makes it easy for you to rotate through your passwords, because a lot of times you have to change it every 90 days. Well, our seasons theoretically line up with every 90 days, and so like in January, if you had to set a new password, you'd probably make it winter 2020. If it needed to be a little more complex, you'd probably add an exclamation point to the end of it, and that would meet your password requirements for almost any application. And then you just rotate it, so the next time you had to change it, you do spring. Well, the bad guys know that you do this, so these are some of the first passwords they try when they're trying to get into your account.
How would you recommend people to store their passwords? Because I think that's where everybody is like the deer in the headlights. I can't remember another password. And every time you go to, even if you want to go shopping online, they're like, set up an account. You're like, oh no, another password.
Passwords are so overwhelming, and because we have to have so many of them, people just tend to do the thing like the seasonal passwords, or they use the same password over and over again. But I cannot stress to people enough the importance of using a different password for every single site. And so I know you're thinking, oh, that is so overwhelming. I cannot remember 500 different passwords. And so there's a great product on the market from several different vendors, and they're called password keepers. And it's just what it sounds like. It remembers the website address, your username, and your password, and then it stores it securely. It uses encryption, and then all you have to do is remember that one password, your master password, and that password rules them all. So you just remember that one, and then it will give you access to the rest of your passwords. And you should use a long password phrase. Make it something really long, because that you want to protect the rest of your passwords. So that one's got to be long. And if you use a phrase, that makes it easy for you to remember versus, a bunch of random letters, numbers, and characters.
Yeah, those when they send those to you, you're like, ah.
Yeah, you're never going to remember that. So if you think of a little, a long phrase that you'd like to do, that'll help you remember that. That gets you into the rest of your passwords. And then another feature that a lot of the password keepers offers is they will generate passwords for you. And then it just generates it for you. You don't have to think of it, and it stores it. And you can also easily access all your passwords while you're surfing the internet, because most of the time there's going to be a little plugin for your browser. And then so it'll just auto-populate every time you get to a different website. So it really takes the complexity out of it for you. And then the last thing I want to mention about that is, since all your other passwords are in there, you should enable something called multi-factor or two-factor access, but it will be a text message that you'll get, and then you'll enter the code after you enter your password. Okay. Or you might use like Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator and enter the code after you enter the password. And that's just one more layer of security, because if somebody did guess your password keeper password, that's one more layer of security. And passwords are the number one weaknesses really for anyone, but especially small businesses. So if one account gets compromised and you have a different password on every account, then they're not going to get any further than that. And that's why they want your passwords, because they're hoping you're using it over and over again. Because like, for instance, they really don't care about your LinkedIn account, but they're hoping you use that password everywhere else. And so that's why they try to hack LinkedIn.
You're not a thief. You don't think that way. And you're like, and that's the key here. I think of what you're trying to say is, here you are, a small business. You're trying to live the dream. You want to provide a service, and the last thing you're thinking is somebody wants to close your business, and they don't even know who you are. All they want is money.
Yeah. They want money. They're not necessarily targeting you. It's just sort of, they might send a bunch of emails out, and that's why it's called phishing. They're just seeing who they can get and click, and then they go from there. They're not picky. They'll take anybody's money.
When somebody reaches out to you, is there anything that you is there anything that they should have in order? Do you do a consult first, or is it a call, just so you get to know them, they get to know you? How does your process go?
So right now you can just shoot me an email and, say you'd like to talk, and then I offer free 20-minute consultations, and I'll give you a little worksheet of some questions to think about before we have that 20-minute consultation. But basically, I want to learn a little bit about your business, what you do, what your goals are just with your business in general, and then what your goals are in terms of security, like if you have a specific incident that happened or concern, and then we'll kind of go from there and formulate a plan. And the plan can look like anything. We can focus on one specific area. It could be, software configurations for what you currently have. It could be getting you a password keeper and a password policy, or it could just be education on like which emails to not click on, like how to identify those phishing emails. So we can do a whole combination of things and just set up a plan. And like I said earlier, we can go step by step over time. Like, we don't have to pour a bunch of time and money into it in one day. We can do a little bit here and there and get you where you're going. Because I want it to be simple and easy to understand, because I don't want to just, throw a bunch of stuff out you and then you're so overwhelmed and then you just step away because you don't understand what's going on. I really want to partner with you so you understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how your business is going to benefit from what we're doing.
Because the end goal is you're making it affordable at the introduction. Yes. Because you're talking about working within a budget, and obviously what are the key points that need to be covered in the beginning, and the result is to keep your business in business. So if you contact Stacy, she's going to work with you. The goal is to keep you in business. So, you're a new business owner, or maybe you've been in business for years, but the last thing you want to do is to be hacked and lose your business because you wanted to save a couple bucks. Right. It's worth every penny and every hour that you put into this business to contact Stacy and talk about a long-term goal or a short-term goal that is affordable to you. Again, affordable to you to make it secure so that your business is around next year, the year after, and the year after.
Yeah.
Is there any questions?
Definitely. We want businesses to be around for a long time.
Say, as I mentioned before, I caught one of your helpful tips on the seasonal passwords. So what else can people expect by following you now? That I caught that on Instagram. Are we getting the same thing on Facebook as well?
Yep. Everything that's on Instagram for the most part will also be on Facebook. The difference between the two is on Facebook, I'll do a lot more linking of current articles and talking about the impact for, you as a consumer or you as a small business. So it's a little more detailed, a little more technical. But overall, I'm always trying to give like tips and facts. So like one of the facts I gave was that there's 1.2 million malicious COVID-19 themed websites out there. So that's a good tip to be aware of.
Can you repeat that?
1.2 million malicious websites that are COVID-19 themed. Yeah. So that's why, there's so many emails going out around it. They're trying to get you to click, and they've got a lot of domain names to pick from. So I try to give you facts like that just so like big things happen. Bad things happen, but I also try to put some good information out there. It's not all negative, bad, doom and gloom on the feed as well. And I try to give you, I do some 2-minute tips on Tuesdays where we talk live for 2 minutes so you can take a tidbit and walk away with some new knowledge. I also have Tell Me Thursday where you can tag me in social and ask me your burning cybersecurity and data protection questions and give you answers about that. Like last week I talked about the term Internet of Things, IoT. Not specifically data protection related, but it is one of those things, and you probably have that stuff and need to protect that as well. And I do lots of updates about Zoom. I'll talk about that because everybody's using Zoom, and I want to make sure that everybody's being secure as they do it and avoiding Zoom bombing. Zoom bombing was something that I talked about quite a bit when that was hot. That first happened, what was that, like a month and a half ago? It's hard to tell how much time has passed these days.
Yeah, in April as the schools were starting to start utilize it more. You're a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of protection. I do want to give a shout out to Fem City and Deviland because Stacy and I are members of an international organization of entrepreneurs, and that's how we met. And I think what we are talking here, it's priceless information. That term I don't use loosely. It really is priceless because we can lose everything at just a click of a key. Yep,
it really is. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you, Stacy. I am so grateful for your time today. I am so happy to see you well, and I know we'll be chatting, and I invite everybody to keep watching this video because we're going to have all the information as how you can reach out to Stacy. Don't shortcut it. Security is important. Thanks for watching.
Connect with Stacy on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Check out her website and email her. These links will also be listed in the comments below.
Take a moment here to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any other updates from Small Talk with Jill.
Until next time, remember, here on Small Talk, we are connecting people to people and business to business.